Hello and welcome to another edition of An English Guy Watching Wrestling. I'm the English Guy, I'm Nick. Thank you so much for clicking on another video, I really do appreciate it. In this one, we're going to be covering the 11th of June 2021 edition of AEW Dynamite, and what a show it was great stuff. With that being said, jump right into it. Opening matchup was between Christian Cage and then Angelico, and when I saw this match announced, I was really looking forward to it because you got two of the very best wrestlers and workers in AEW, full stop. And Angelico, who is insanely underrated as one of the best wrestlers in AEW, full stop. Excuse me. And Angelico is incredible. He's perhaps the best submission wrestler in all of AEW as well, and that's saying something because there's some good ones. Against Christian Cage, who is a man who has been one of the best workers and best wrestlers in the business for nearly 20 years. He's so good, incredibly undervalued, I think, and underrated, but he can go with the very best, and he's so good at it. And this matchup came as per a Matt Hardy feud that he's been going with Christian Cage for nearly 20 years. Obviously, they started in the WWE, has now carried across elsewhere, and now here in AEW. And he asked Angelico to do it because Angelico and Jack Evans, the Hybrid 2, have worked with Matt Hardy as hired guns in the past, shall we say. So, of course, that's exactly what Matt Hardy wanted to do with Christian Cage again. And it was a cracking match. It really, really was. And I knew it would be, but I wasn't expecting these two men to put out what they did in terms of wrestling, in terms of just submission wrestling, counter wrestling. They did it all. And knowing how these two worked and how they psyched, how they kind of progressed through the match in terms of being smarter, doing things differently, was a tribute to both men as what they can do in the ring. It was a fantastic opening matchup, to be fair. I thought this was a fantastic showcase of what both men are all about, and especially Angelico. I mean, when he faces someone like Christian Cage, you're not going to have a bad match any time of the day, any day of the week. And Angelico probably his best singles out in AEW to date, and that's saying something because he's had some very good ones. I think this was also Christian Cage's, maybe it's not his best wrestling match in AEW to date, but definitely a great match from him as well. Him picking up the kill switch and putting more hatred into the heart of Matt Hardy was kind of cool to see because Matt Hardy did give him a twist of fate again on the rampway. Did it last week, did it this week. So kind of interesting to see that. And I'm pretty sure they will lock up at one point or another in the upcoming weeks. But that being said, this was a fantastic opening matchup. From what wrestling standpoint is and what work standpoint is from both men, couldn't fault it. So definite thumbs up to Angelico and Christian Cage for producing a cracking opening matchup. So well done indeed. This match was Penta El Cero Miedo and Pac, 2/3 of Death Triangle, team with Eddie Kingston versus the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. And now, of course, all 6 of these men have been feuding for each other for a while now. And Brandon Cutler, his first match since his injury, he has picked up a broken orbital bone, I think, hence the face mask. And obviously the Young Bucks, the greatest tag team in the world, no question about it, because they are the tag team champions in AEW, against a very combustible yet very well working together element in 2/3 of Death Triangle with Eddie Kingston, because at one point Kingston was in a faction with the Butcher and the Blade and the Money, Penta and Ray Phoenix, because they were all guys that, and of course Lady that came together in the independent scene and got signed to AEW until Pac came back and decided to have Ray Phoenix and Penta back as part of Death Triangle, which they were before Pac had to be on the other side of the world in the UK because of the pandemic. But now he's back. He wants to be Death Triangle, and they are again. So it's been interesting to see. So them team with Eddie Kingston was unusual, but they worked very well as a tag team, and this was a superb six-man tag match, to be fair. And I thought the unique elements of the young boy that Brandon Cutler was playing with the Young Bucks was entertaining to watch this match. It really was. And the Young Bucks, you're not going to get a bad match from them any day of the week, any time of the week, any time of the year. And obviously, with Kingston, Pac, and Penta, they were great too. There was no other way to fault it. So no other way to say it. And them as a trio just worked a treat. And I was hoping, so maybe thinking there was going to be a bit of a combustible element. Maybe they were going to explode and have a go at each other. No, they actually got along and they got the win after a brutal backfist to the future from Eddie Kingston. And it's still one of the most devastating finishes in wrestling. It's so simple yet so hard hitting and brutal. Got the pin on Brandon Cutler, and that was it. 1, 2, 3. But this was a good 6-man tag match to continue the feud that all these men are having with each other. I'm really looking forward to how it goes on from there because it's been one of the most entertaining feuds in AEW in recent times. I've enjoyed it, and it's been funny at times, but also it's because of the Young Bucks and their heel personas. But also you've got the other side of it who just want to go out there and do the best they can with Penta, Pac, and Eddie, and they did in this match. It was great stuff. So thumbs up to all 6 men for this matchup. So good stuff. And this match was the AEW TNT Championship match. Evil Uno going for the champion, who is Miro, and I give I give credit where it's due. Evil Uno had his first ever singles match recently in AEW technical programming, and you can believe that is absolutely true. And Evil Uno has been mostly a tag team wrestler since his tenure in AEW, with, of course, the Dark Order, or Steve Reason, because obviously they've been tag team partners for a long time. So to him to get a singles match against Miro for the TNT title, which is a title that means a lot to the Dark Order, obviously because of the late great Brody Lee holding the belt and really bring a lot of prestige to that title, and he did in defending it and had some superb matches. Of course, the Dark Order, they pretty much had that title for a while and they made it their own. Obviously, Brody Lee did. So for him against Miro was something I was looking forward to, and this was a superb title match, to be fair. And Miro, Evil Uno, my apologies, showing just how good he is as a singles wrestler, and he really brought it to Miro in this matchup. But if there's anybody that's on a roll right now in terms of just domination in AEW, it is Miro. No other way to say it. And not just because he won the title from Darby Allin, it's because he has been on the rampage, showing what he's all about, showing what he can do, and he's proven himself in more ways than one that he deserves to be champion. And he's a champion that is defending the belt. And I can't fault that. And he defended the belt in what was a very good back and forth matchup between these two. And of course, Miro, being the huge guy that he is, being heavyweight used against him by Uno, was very well done. And it was a good matchup, hard hitting, all a bit of psychological movement from Miro trying to get inside Uno's head. So that was quite interesting to see as well. But I did enjoy this matchup for what it was. So definite thumbs up to both men for producing a good title match. Miro did win the match. Uno had a very good showing for sure. So definite thumbs up. I apologise. I think my sinuses are starting to talk to me. So, and next matchup was a very angry Lance Archer, only way to say it, against Chandler Hopkins. And like his last match in AEW programming, Lance Archer just brought his opponent out with him. So no, bring his opponent out with him this time. Hopkins tried to get a jump on Lance Archer before the match even started. Archer was having none of it. He went straight into, destroying mode. That's the best way to describe it, to be completely honest with you. He defeated Hopkins in 40 seconds with the blackout. There you go, Sam. Lance Archer with another win. And this match was almost my match of the night. I'm going to say it was probably more a joint match of the night with the main events. Legit Layla Hirsch versus Nyla Rose. And this is a very unusual matchup because you've got the largest competitor in the women's division, Nyla Rose, against the smallest competitor in the women's division in Layla Hirsch. That didn't matter because this was a cracking women's match. I thought this was a real example of how, no matter who you put in the matchup in the women's division, they can produce something different, something good, and just something well worth watching. Layla and Nyla did exactly that. And obviously Nyla was using her weight and her strength advantage against Layla Hirsch. But Layla Hirsch, you can't put it past her. She is a fantastic wrestler. She's got a brilliant amateur background. She can go, and she's proved it many times in the past. And she brought it to Nyla Rose in this matchup, for sure. And she was doing some things against a much larger opponent I've never seen Layla do before in terms of submission holds, finding a way to use Nyla's weight against her, especially as a German suplex, which was incredibly well put together. But you know what? This was a very good back and forth match between two of the best female wrestlers in AEW, full stop. And I really liked how they worked. And Layla lost, but she lost nothing in this matchup. This was one of her best performances today, bar none. And Nyla Rose was also so good in this matchup. There's no other way to say it. I thought this was another fantastic example of what the women's division is about in AEW. They really brought out the very best of each other, I think, in terms of how they worked. Obviously, Layla being the smaller wrestler, but she didn't care. She went full force, and she really bought it in this matchup. Nyla did a great job, so definite thumbs up to both ladies for a really good match. Also, to the main event, and my other match tonight. Dark Order's number 10 and Hangman Page versus Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs of Team Taz. Now, this is a feud that's been building for a little while with Hangman Page and Brian Cage, and obviously Will Hobbs to an extent with Team Taz, and Dark Order's number 10, who is friends with, who part of the Dark Order, who's friends with Hangman Page. They're comrades, shall we say. So seeing perhaps the most man who's had the best momentum in the Dark Order and perhaps the best momentum in the 2021 division for the men, Dark Order's number 10, against arguably the best all-rounder in AEW, like Hangman Page. He doesn't do anything bad at all. Did it here. And this was a superb tag team main event. And seeing how all four of these men worked with each other was just very, very, very back and forth, hard hitting, but worth it. This was something I kind of was expecting Dark Order's number 10 to be kind of intimidated, because he's the strongest man with the Dark Order, bar none. Maybe apart from John Silver, because John Silver is strong himself, don't get me wrong. But when you've got guys like Hobbs and Cage, who are arguably the two strongest wrestlers in AEW, yeah, they are going to be dominant force. Not so much in this matchup. Hangman Page and Dark Order number 10 worked a very well in sync tag team match against two much larger opponents. And whilst there's been friction recently in Team Taz, it showed here. When Brian Cage was thrown the FTW title by Ricky Starks, Cage refused to use it, which was unusual. And there was a friction between Starks and Cage, and they went each other down the ramp, and that left Powerhouse Hobbs in the ring by himself with Hangman Page and Dark Order's number 10. And of course, the buckshot lariat hit by Hangman Page won the matchup, but that was what ended the night. And this matchup was what the tag team division can be, but when he's throwing some unique elements of a tag team that's never been together before in terms of tag matches. I don't think I've ever seen Hangman and Preston Vance, Dark Order number 10, tag together ever. So, but they worked superbly as a tag team. It's a tag team who kind of had some dissension, shall we say. Well, actually not. Actually, Hobbs and Cage were fine. It was more Ricky Starks and Cage saying no to use the FTW title. Sorry. But, in terms of just hard-hitting, great, smash mouth style to an extent, this was it. And when we got these four men involved, you were going to get exactly that. And this was a good main event on top of what was overall a very good episode of Dynamite. And again, All Elite Wrestling go from strength to strength in 2021, so it's continuing. And thumbs up to all four men in the main event. And thumbs up to everybody involved in the show. It was really, really good stuff this week. And on that positive note, I will end the review here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see everybody next time. Until that time, take care.